Hello everyone, hope you're having a great day and welcome to the Tundra Dude 34 YouTube channel. So as many of you know, last month this channel had its 8th birthday. Tundra Dude 34 is now 8 years old, and we've seen a lot of great Tundras come and go. Whether it's going to the dealerships to see them, the ones that I've owned, the press vehicles we have for a week at a time, we've seen a lot of great Tundras. But one I want to focus on today is a Platinum that I had in 2017 that we lovingly named the Platinum Pro Project. We did a lot of great stuff to this truck. There is a playlist I will put down in the description below if you want to go back and check everything we did to it. But I'm going to give a brief rundown on what we did do to it and why. So back in 2017, the TRD Pro was built off of an SR5 platform. And one thing I always used to say in my videos was I wish that the TRD Pro came with more options, at least in the United States. In Canada, these options were already on the TRD Pro. Canada and the US are always slightly different with things when it comes to standard features. So the TRD Pro was very basic in 15 to 17. There wasn't a lot of stuff on it. So I always used to say to my viewers back then, in the beginning, what would it be like to take something like a Platinum trim that had everything you could ever want on a Tundra and add all of the TRD Pro stuff to it? So it got to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I started the channel with a 2016 TRD Pro Mag Gray double cab and ended up trading that in for a 2017 Platinum in Midnight Black Metallic. Now, this was going to take a lot of work and a lot of money, and I did the best I could with it. And we even went above and beyond, which you will learn about as we go through some of the things that we changed out. And we changed out a lot. So we did all of the things that you need to do to make it a TRD Pro. We added the TRD Pro grill up front, the Toyota Heritage grill. Everything on the body that was chrome, we took off and put on body color stuff. Thanks to Sparks Parts for all that. We did the black handles, the black mirror caps. The only thing I left on it that wasn't blacked out was the Platinum badge. I wanted to keep that, the stock Platinum badge. Many people told me I should have put an overlay on that, but I wanted to keep that as is. So TRD Pro grill up front, body color, everything. We even put the overlay on the 4x4 that's chrome on the tailgate there. So it had the look. We put the TRD Pro suspension, TRD Pro skid plate. Eventually, we put the 2018 TRD Sport headlights and fog lights because they were LED for 2018. So we upgraded to those. And the TRD Sport ones were the first ones that were available, and they had a black background, so I wanted to keep that theme going. So yeah, the TRD Pro suspension, the TRD Pro skid plate, the TRD dual exhaust. I put a BFG KO2 275/70 R18 tire on it, and I ended up going with the Ultra Phantom 18-inch wheels. And the only reason I didn't go for the TRD Pro wheel is because the TRD Pro wheel at the time was like $450 a wheel. And these ones here were about $150. So I was trying to save money where I could because this was a very expensive build. So on the exterior, we had that all body color and blacked out look. Great part of the Platinum versus the actual TRD Pro is we had things like blind spot monitoring, parking sensors. We had a moonroof because the moonroof wasn't in the Pro at this point in time. We had the genuine heated ventilated memory seats. We had the JBL sound system. We had power folding mirrors. The mirrors also had auto dimming and an LED indicator in them as well, which is pretty cool. I added the TRD shifter on the inside. So we had a nice black and gray inside and very comfortable Platinum seats. So you had the ultimate luxury at the time for Tundra and then all of the Pro stuff on the outside. Now this truck started with the TRD cold air intake, but I cannot stop once I get started. And we ended up adding a Magnuson supercharger to this truck. And that took it to a whole new level. And people ask all the time, how did that supercharged Tundra feel compared to today's Tundra? And it's completely different. The raw power of that supercharger pulling something as heavy as the old Tundra, because the Tundra of last generation definitely felt a little heavier. There was a little bit of the body sway going on, a little brake dive. This took something that felt extremely heavy and shot it down the road like it was no big deal. The new generation Tundra with the turbos and even with the hybrid, it gets it down the road very smooth. You don't really feel anything. You don't feel the transmission shifting. The old one, you felt everything. It also came with a bully dog tuner. So we had this truck looking good and performing great. There were other small features I added to it, like the NFAB steps, the Husky liners on the inside. We had the trifold tonneau cover from Xtang. I believe it was called Xtang Trifecta 2.0 was the name. I mean, this thing had the absolute awesome look to it. I had a couple problems with the LED fog light, if I remember correctly. They shook a lot when you would drive down the road, which was a lot of what other people were saying with their 2018 Tundra. Every time they would hit a bump, they would see the LED fog light shaking. So I ended up fixing that. I can't remember how I did it, but I think we used a couple zip ties and held it in place. I had a pulley issue we took care of with the supercharger, which was really no big deal. But overall, the truck was tip-top. It was an amazing truck and probably the most popular truck that's ever been on this channel. People still talk about it to this day. It also had the TRD front and rear sway bar. I knew I would forget stuff. And that was when the TRD front sway bar first came out. Yeah, so it had all of the stuff you would ever want on your Tundra. And people always ask, like, what did I pay? What was the total amount of money? And this is completely a guess. But the truck itself, if I remember correctly, was in the high 40s because Tundras were way cheaper back then, as we know. This is like before Toyota Safety Sense and all that. The truck was in the high 40s. We'll say 50,000 just for mathematics. With everything, including the supercharger, labor, all that, I would say there was probably 65 grand into this truck total with the purchase of 50 and then $15,000 in additional parts. So yeah, this was the ultimate build. If you're wondering if the Platinum Pro still exists today, because I ended up trading it in very early 2020 for the Army Green TRD Pro that came after. It is still out there, and every once in a while, the owner will send me a picture of the truck. It is still going strong. There are still no issues. I believe the mileage last I checked was up around 80 or 90,000, so still going. Magnuson, one thing I got to say about Magnuson superchargers, when I was getting it, I was like everybody else when they're getting a supercharger. It's the unknown, and you're afraid it's going to do something, you know, negative to your engine or to your driving experience. They were awesome, and they, you know, guided me through all the questions I had. And I would absolutely recommend and use Magnuson in the future for sure. That's an expensive part, so you want that peace of mind. And to this very day, I still get people asking me, would I do it again if I could? If that 5.7 V8 was still around, I would definitely supercharge it again, because it's something that you can't really explain to someone until they get behind the wheel. And one thing I always like to say about the supercharger is it wasn't obnoxious. If you didn't want the truck to fly down the road and be super loud and aggressive, you drive it like a normal person, all you'll hear is a little supercharger whine when you're coming off of the light, when you're going from stop and getting up to speed, and it's not loud, it's not obnoxious. I eventually, on the Platinum Pro truck, put the BA muffler TRD dual exhaust replacement system on there. So it uses the TRD dual exhaust tailpipes, but it's a little bit more of a deeper tone with the muffler. And Keith and the team over there at Dirty Deeds is amazing. And that setup was solid. That with the supercharger whine was probably the greatest sound a Tundra will ever make. So we did a lot of good things. Any regrets on that? Probably if I could go back in time, I would have tried to get, you know, the TRD wheel just to really tie it all in and make it that true TRD Pro clone that I was trying to do. But in the same breath, I will say that the Phantoms that I went with from Ultra, they had a little more offset, so it gave this little bit of tire poke that made the truck look great. The stance was perfect. So that is the truck I want to talk about after 8 years of this channel, because people still ask about it all the time. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Overall, regardless of any trucks we talk about, I want to thank you all who have been here, whether you're brand new, a day old, new subscriber, or you've been here the whole 8 years. I genuinely appreciate you coming on here, talking Tundra, giving your opinions. We've had some great debates on stuff. A lot of stuff going on with today's Tundra and recalls and all that. So I always look forward to talking to you. And I thank you just so much for spending your time here on the channel. And I look forward to many more years with you. So let me know what you think about the Platinum Pro build. And is there any other Tundras that I've had on this channel that you absolutely love? whether it be one that I've owned or maybe one of those press loans. I had a Voodoo Blue 1794 TRD off-road in 2020. I know a lot of people like that one as well. So let me know in the comments below. And once again, thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate you. Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok at TundraDude34. TundraDude34 at gmail.com. You guys have a great day. Be safe and be well.